Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Goblin Brothers podcast here. I'm gonna be diving a little bit into mages in AQ, priorities, non-priorities, bis-lists, specs, and what to look forward to. With me today, of course, I have the one and only Mr. Teddy Rosso. Teddy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Introduction? Damn, you put me on the spot, man. Well, my name is Teddy, or Teddy Rosso, but people call me Teddy. I've been playing World of Warcraft Classic on like 4 different private servers, so I love this game. I'm the one who taught Zico everything about streaming and stuff, by the way, just so you guys know. But yeah, I love Classic, play Mage all the time, play a little Warrior back in the days, and I'm a politician when I'm not playing video games. Yes.
Sounds good, sounds good. So basically what we're trying to get to here is that I'm a lot newer to the game, while Teddy is a bit more experienced. So I hope we get both sides of the story here going into AQ. First off, maybe we should look a little bit about the bis list going into AQ. Day 1 of AQ, what gear do you want to have? Let's pull up classic gear planner. Yeah.
But do you want like the ultimate bis or just your bis? Because yours, we made a separate list.
Yeah, like, we made a separate for me, but I want to have it for everyone here now.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember it quite well, but I think I want to look at a lot of different options as well. So first off, we can start with saying that you need 16% hit to be hit capped as a mage, and that means since you will get 6% from talent, this talent right here, elemental precision, you need 10 hit from gear, and since your best in slot, you will be using 2 of these Sulgurub enchants, which gives 1% hit and 18 spell power on both your head and legs. Basically, you need 8% hit from gear. Correct me if I'm wrong, Teddy. Yeah. So you need 8 from gear, 2% from the enchants. So let's go into pre-AQ biz. I mean, it's a bit late for that, but the optimal gear you would have going into it. Yes, that is true. How important would you say hit cap is over like a large amount of spell power and crit?
Someone will always hit and keep the ignite rolling, but the 2 people who kept hit capped were always the one on top DPS. In my opinion, hit is the most important stat in the game.
Alright. There we go. I think I managed to mute you there for a second, but...
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, we're back in business now. We're back in business.
Oh my god.
So basically, yeah, if we're looking at our best in slot, or let's look at the best in slot you can have going in if you have Staff of the Shadowflame.
I'm trying to set it up right now.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. Wand, you're gonna want the consumption wand, right? What is it called?
Touch of
Chaos. Yes.
Oh, you got the pop.
What legs? Yeah, perfect. What legs?
give me 1 second. Where are we going right now?
Thunder Bluff. We're going for the
this warrior wants a portal.
Yeah. Well, just invite them. Just invite them. You're the leader. Hello.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
What legs are Bis? Basically tier 2 or rank for 12, right?
No, I think actually since you're going, I'm so bad at multitasking, man.
Yeah. Should we log out then so we can do this? Because at this
point, let's do this.
No.
Oh, fuck, man. I'm not taking payment. Only one person paid. We got.
I don't care, Teddy. Focus on the task at hand. You're horrible, man.
What do you mean? Oh, you're supposed to put this on YouTube, right?
Yeah, actually the most scuffed podcast in the West. That's why I can't do shit with you, Teddy.
What do you mean?
Scuffed.
No. Okay, I'm finding it right now. Because the thing is, I think you're supposed to go with the Bloodvine legs when you go for the full damage miss, man. I think that's actually the play.
I don't think you can get hit cap without it.
Oh, you can with the build I am. I'm hit capped without Bloodvine, but that's because
Yeah, you need to use Notorious tier. You can't have double on use then.
No. Always. I'm just gonna put it up earlier. Just give me one.
So you basically need one more hit here right now, without equipping legs. If you use Bloodvine legs, you do get hit capped, and you can actually go for a damage ring, like Ring of Spell Power, or the what's this one called, the Green Dragon one. We're talking Mind Tier band. So I think this is.
I don't have your stream.
I hate Bloodvine. It's so ugly. I prefer tier 2 and some other hit items. Yeah. Well, PP wise, you don't really need to care about the clout that much, so you actually don't really need to bother about how you look. You just use a Deviated Light or Nogenfogger or something instead, right? So with this gear, you can see right here that we have 8% hit, and that is what we was needing for 8% hit. That what we needed to get hit capped, right? 6% from talents, 2% from enchants, 8% from gear. If you're doing like me and Teddy and not using Staff of the Shadow Flame, but instead looking to get the Femur as fast as possible from AQ to have priority on that one, you would go Mage Blade instead, Yindo's Bag of Whammies, and the crit you actually lose from going with Mage Blade instead of Staff of the Shadow Flame, you get from your legs with. If I'm using these, so but T2 makes the same thing happen basically.
You're rocking that one. I'm rocking with tier 2, but I don't have Mish or Choker yet though. But it's the same setup.
Yeah, same setup. Wait, how can you cap without Bloodvine? This is basically hit capped without Bloodvine.
Yes, with the 2 enchants you get on your head and your legs, this puts you at 10%.
Yeah, 2% from CG enchants and 6% from talents.
Yes.
So you need 8% from raw gear hit to get hit capped as a mage.
But the thing is, the main argument I base this setup upon, instead of going Bloodvine and Staff of Shadow Flame, is because the first main reason, well, obviously, is because I find Bloodvine to look dog shit, right? Because you look like a hobo. The second reason is that Bloodvine provides no stamina, and in AQ, like especially Battleguard Satura, the boss and the 2 ads does this AoE whirlwind. which can literally one-shot you. And I experienced that on private servers, which is why I don't like Bloodborne, because I want the stamina provided from Robo-Volatile Power and Tier 2, and I also want the crit instead. And the main reason I go for Mage Blade and Bag of Whammies instead of Staff of Shadowflame is because I'm a goblin and I want the Fimmer weapon from AQ Prior, man.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is very, very understandable, so to say.
So if your guild is rocking a loot cancel system, if you have Staff of Shadowflame, you won't get upgrade until next, and that's big yikes, man.
Yeah. Nope, there is a bug on Wowhead. Count by yourself. Alright, so I'll count. So you get 1% hit from Cloak of Consumption, 1% hit from Blood-Tinged Gloves, 1% hit from Bag of Whammies, 2% hit from Notorious Tear, 1% hit from Band of Force Concentration, 1% hit from the Vanguard Boots. Never mind, they fixed it. I think this should be.
Yeah,
yes, it's 8.
It's correct,
yeah.
man. It's correct. It's correct. Don't listen to the plebs, man.
So rude, so rude.
Nah,
all right.
Nah.
Yeah, I forgot about the gloves. That's 8. So yeah. So yeah, basically this is how you would get hit capped. It's really like if you don't Tear helps a ton for this gear. If you don't have Notorious Tear, it's super hard to get hit capped without using Bloodvine.
Then you just go Bloodvine chest, man.
Then you need
it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, basically you swap Robo-Volatile Power if you don't have Notorious Tear for Bloodvine chest.
And also, since the majority of players don't have access to Mind Band, since this is a world buff drop, you can just take Ring of Spell Power from MC instead. The Mind
yeah, like then you take Ring of Spell Power instead, right? So yeah, so this is the Bis-list going into AQ. Basically there's a small priority change that crit becomes more valuable than it was earlier, just because of what Teddy was talking earlier with the hit cap as well, that the most important thing is that you keep the ignites rolling when necessary, and that's why we're looking for more crit, and that is what makes the rank 10 gear for Mage so good, because you get the 2-set bonus, and these are actually the only shoulders, cloth shoulders right now in the game that has crit on them. There's no other shoulders. You could go for something like Mantle or Blackwing Cabal instead, but you lose out on raw stats going this, and then you need to find 1% hit from something other than boots.
If you don't have the rank 10 shoulders, or if you want to have the Bis for current phase, you put in the shoulders from BVL, the Cabal shoulders, and then you put the PvP gloves in instead, and then you take 1 Bloodvine piece inside your set.
Yeah.
It gives the same damage, a little less crit, but it gives more flat damage total.
That is true, but what if you haven't ranked at all? What would you swap?
Well then, if you don't rank, you have to go Bloodvine.
Yeah.
Because the hits on the boots, you know, it's so important to make this set. This is the reason the set is good, is because the PvP boots have a hit on it. And this combination is also pre-Nax best in slot as well, with the shoulders and the boots. So you want it. Like, if you don't get it, you're a slacker, in my opinion. Because it takes nothing. Rank 10 takes nothing.
Yeah, especially at this point, right? So yeah, boys, that's where you hear it, right? That's why it's so important to rank to 10 as a mage. It's literally gonna be pre-biz until Nax, because of the powerful 2-set bonus. You get so much raw stats, and the 23 2-set bonus in the ranking gear is what makes it super powerful. So if you're maining mage and you're not ranking, you better go kill some gnomes.
Always kill the gnomes, man.
Moving on, let's look at an AQ Bis-list.
Oh.
Or maybe we should just do a walkthrough on gear first.
No, we can just do the AQ Bis-list, pretty much. It's quite easy to replace.
Let's do it.
We both have the same up right now. Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So Mish is Bis pre-Nax, so you keep the Mish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
then
is
you were...
yet again,
yeah.
boys. When we're going through this, you can see what items you're actually using until Nax, and why those should be very high priority on your I want these items list, like Mish over Staff of the Shadow Flame, because Mish lasts you until Nax, while Staff of the Shadow Flame, you will be sitting on that for until you get 1,000,000 femurs dropping or you get Nax weapons, basically. So you can use this as a priority as well. All right, neck-wise.
You go for the Amulet of Vecnilage.
Yes.
Drops off from Emperor Vecnilage in AQ.
That one is Turbo Biz. It's actually
insane,
so
man.
huge.
Yeah, it's insane. That also puts to show how good Choker of the Fertile is as an item, man. Because you can get that like the first time you kill Ragnaros, and you have it all the way until AQ, man. Like Choker of the Fertile is such a huge item in the beginning.
That is true. That is true. And that's why I'm so tilted that I haven't gotten it yet.
Shut the fuck up, I don't have it myself.
Yeah, all right. Whatever. All right, let's move on. Enigma chest is Biz, right? Enigma robe. Yes.
But you're jumping though. You keep the rank 10 shoulders, you change the cloak before you change the chest, man. Thank you for following this.
I'm just filling it out here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just filling it out. I think all of these are Biz so far. Rock Fury Bracers are gonna be best in slot after AQ as well, right? Or
they're best in slot the entire game. They are, yes, they're a small upgrade from Braces of Arcane Accuracy, but they are best in slot the entire fucking game.
That's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Yes, and what's the thing about Rock Fury Bracers though? Because it's a grind. As a mage in Classic, you have like two big grinds. The first one is rank 10, and the second one is the Rock Fury Bracers. It's from the field duty event in AQ or in Silitus, where you turn in badges for tokens, then you get your bracers.
Exactly.
And it takes like 10 hours a day for 4 days, and then you're done.
And for you guys that are wondering, the replacement for them would be, right, the Braces of Arcane Accuracy here from Broodlord. I think you're losing 6 spell power, but you gain int and you lose stamina, right? You actually gain stamina as well. You lose 6 spell power for 12 int and 2 stam. So yeah, Rock Fury Bracers are performing better, but it is a slim upgrade for sure.
But I will say, if you're going for the Rock Fury Bracers, I will advise you to do it when AQ patch hits. Because to get the tokens, you have to sign this paper from this guard in Silitus, and it spawns an event mob. It's impossible to solo. So if you're too late to doing it, and no one's there to help you kill the event mob, you will never get the tokens and you can't finish the quest.
Good tip, good tip. Alright, moving on. Gloves is the C-Tune one, right? The Dark Storm.
Of course, man.
They're huge! Like, look at them. 19 stam, 15 int, 37 spell power, and 1% hit. Holy macamoni. Plus you need Rebird to start the quest with Scenario Circle. That is good to include in the Rock Fury Bracers discussion as well. Dealer MD.
Yeah, but the thing is though, you get Scenario Circle reputation from doing AQ20, and you also get reputation every time you sign the papers and you turn in the papers. So the trick to Rock Fury Bracers, or the tokens, if you want to save gold, is to go for the cheapest materials, which is the armor kits, where you can stack up beforehand. And if you always just recycle, so you pick up the quest with the armor kits, you will eventually hit revered before you get the bracers. That's how we did it. That's why it takes 4 days to do the grind.
All right. Seems good. Let's move on. Belt.
AQ, man.
It's the C2 one, the eye stalk.
Eye stalk, waste cord, man.
The mana igniting cord that shot some stuff up and is fucking lit. So yeah, this is basically mana igniting cord on steroids.
Yes.
Not much more to say about it. It's biz. It's just a straight up upgrade.
Yeah. The thing about these items, both the neck, the gloves, and the belt, you're gonna compete with the locks on those items. But the legs are different, which is the next item. Because those are the one from AQ40.
Alright.
It's called Leggings of the Black
Lizard, right.
Blizzard, not lizard, blizzard, man.
Black Lizard. Alright, yeah, so these are actually from AQ20, yes.
And those are Mage Prio. So if anyone tries to BM you, no, it's Mage Prio because it's Bis until next.
Alright, you hear that, boys? So if your guilds are trying to give these to warlocks, you just put down your foot and you say no. This is for us mages. We've been here suffering, you know, giving away hit gears like it's candy on Halloween. No more, we say. We are the big boys now.
I see that Spectra raises a good question in your chat about 57 fire damage legs, which is a valid point. But in my opinion, and the majority of people, crit is more important. That's why you're going with the Leggings of the Black Blizzard.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's happening when you're rolling full fire as well, right? That crit becomes more valuable. I think the point, let me see if I can find the legs here. There they are. So these legs are really strong, right? And just like Teddy's saying, I think purely stat-wise, Leggings of the Black Blizzard is better in general. Another benefit that you get from that is, of course, you're pumping fire, but you know yourself if you're looking at your Warcraft logs and your damage breakdowns in raids, a lot of the damage is not only from fire. Or it's not only from frost, you know, you're using arcane explosions on AoE pack, maybe you do a flame strike, maybe you need to do something else, and this kind of limits you. If we're talking pure boss parses, sure, but both me and Ted is kind of that we're not only into boss parses, because a large part of the raids in total is, you know, doing all the trash and doing them efficiently, etc, etc. Isn't that what we usually say, Teddy? Overall damage.
That's my excuse when I'm parsing bad, man.
Yeah, mine as well. Let's just put it like that. But no, I think these are really good. If you can't get the hands, or until you get your hands on the AQ20 ones, sure, they are great. But if we're talking pure best in slot, biggest pumper, the other ones are gonna pull out ahead.
The reason for that is like 1 crit is considered 10 spell power and fire, right? So if you go for Legging of Black Blizzard, yes, you have 6 less damage, but the crit to carry the ignite, to keep that 3k rolling ignite is better, man. It's better.
It is. Alright, boots are gonna be rank 7 boots.
Yes.
Only flash for command. Exactly, Ben Scholar. The C-tune ring got to be the fucking biz of the business of the biz.
It is.
Ring of the Fallen God, right? 37 spell power and 1% hit, and raw stats. This is insane. I'm so happy looking at this that I hit rank 10 yesterday. Happy, yeah. You see, you will use your rank 10 gear all the way to next from us. And it's like me, I'm rank 13 on my mage, you know, but I will still go back and use the blue set pieces once I collected more gear. We had that discussion earlier about running, you know, a full ranking set, but I mean, it's very slim performance-wise in Blackwing Lair, but going into AQ, there's big stuff happening, and you're gonna be breaking up that rank 13 gear, and you're gonna be prioritizing these stuff. Razor refuses to drop Manta. Yeah, so basically, if we look at the pure stats, if we just take a small look at the stats, these two items combined give you 30 spell power, 1% hit, and 1% crit, plus the 23 spell power from the set bonus. So in total, you're gonna get 50 free spell power, 1% hit, and 1% crit from these 2 items. 50 free spell power, 1% hit, and 1% crit is what these, plus a bunch of raw stats, right? Is what you get from these. And that's why rank 10 is Bis, you know? Alright, second ring.
That's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. The thing is, there's like 3 different rings you can choose from here. It's either, oh my god, where is it? Ring of Swarming Thought that gives 26 damage and increases magical resistance of your target by 20.
And we still haven't been able to do enough testing, right? How big boss resistances actually is.
Yes, and that's is also one of the interesting things. But the thing is, the hardcore people in Onslaught and Apes and Progress are gonna figure this out in a week or 2, and they're gonna test it. But you have that one, and then you have Ritzin's Ring of Chaos. If you can type that in.
And this is like just raw stats. It's like a Ghetto Mind Tier band, right?
Yes. And then there's
and we can say that this ring is from Trash in AQ. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this is actually a trash drop in AQ.
It is.
So it's not from any boss, it's not from AQ20 or anything like that, it's from the trash. So it's gonna be generally more available to people than maybe some other rings.
Yes, and then the third ring to choose from is Wrath of Scenarios. If you can type that in. Yes.
Ah, it's this one.
Yes, that one is also from Field Duty. The thing is, this item's value depends on its internal cooldown, which is not confirmed, like, at all. Every single private server had it wrong. No one had the stats for it on vanilla, because no one fucking grinded to it. It's exalted. You have to do the field duty twice, so you're gonna have to see what the nerds or the tryhards are gonna figure out. This might be Bis. Just one of those 3 rings that is the Bis ring.
It's very interesting, right? Maybe there's a long grind, and the good thing is that if Wrath of Scenarios is best in slot, if the internal cooldown is that low, that it's gonna be outperforming every other ring on average. That of course is gonna mean that you're gonna get your Rock Fury bracers as well, because you're doing the field duty anyways, right?
You have to do it twice, man.
Yeah,
you have to do it twice. It's the same tokens, so after you turn in for one, you have to do it all over again to get the second item.
Yes.
So that's 10 hours a day for 8 days, man.
But then you're
running up and down.
Running up and down in Silitus, killing gnomes on your way. What better way to spend your
but days? I would place the Ritzin for now, actually.
I would also say the Ritzin for sure. Trinkets, Neltorian's Tear. It's gonna be sticking with you for a long time. And
and Mind Quickening Gem. Those are the best trinkets in the game.
Weapon is of course gonna be the Femur. Offhand is gonna be the, what is the C-Tune one called? The Bag of Whammies on steroids.
That's a really good question, man. It's got Royal Scepter of Veclor.
There we go.
And then there's the Wand of Corrosion ability as the wand.
There we go. So this is how your best in slot is gonna be looking. While after AQ is dropped, this is your turbo best in slot. Isn't Briarwood Reed better than my Quickening Gem? It's not, Kex. It's not, my friend.
Oh, but it brings up a valid point, though. Like for debate, the thing is, you will always swap your trinkets, right?
Yes, constantly.
But you will never use Briarwood Reed, because you will either use Toep or Zandlar and Hero Charm when you're doing trash. And hopefully on bosses, you will always have Mind Quickening Gem. Unless you're Omega tryhard and you have like half of the mages use one quickening gem and half of the mages use Towep or Hero Charm to keep that ignite even fatter, right? Because it scales on the highest hitting fire spell.
Exactly.
So, yes.
So that is something you can do. We will dive into how Ignite works and why fire mages are a big deal going into AQ in a little bit. But basically, you can use Briarwood Reed as a filler, right? So if you use Mind Quickening Gem on a boss, what do you use on the next trash pack? Either you're going to use Towep, you're going to use Sandalar Hero Charm, or maybe use Briarwood Reed. Another very interesting trinket to bring up, that I know is a favorite of yours as well, Teddy, is of course the Arcanite Dragonling.
Yes.
And I think we need to mention this with trinkets and best in slot going into AQ. So this is the Arcanite Dragonling. I have it on my mage. It's a very, very, very expensive trinket to craft. It has a 1 hour cooldown, and it summons a little dragon pet. But the difference between this dragon pet and like the Mithril Dragonling is that it gives the boss a debuff called Flame Buffet. And Flame Buffet works the same way as it does on Fire Maw in Blackwing Lair. It is a stacking debuff that increases the fire damage taken off your target, which makes it so good going into AQ. Because this can stack, right? And I don't know what the... Do you know what the max is? If it's 5?
It's 5 stacks.
And it's 84 increased fire damage per stack.
I think it's 120 in total, right? Let's see here. Arcanite.
Let's see if we can pull up the Flame Buffet from the Arcanite Dragonling. But basically what this is gonna give you is somewhat equivalent to 400-ish spell power if you can keep this max stacked. And something that is really good to know about Arcanite Dragonling is that if you equip the trinket, you use it to summon the dragon. The dragon lasts for a minute, right? Then you can equip another trinket and the Dragonling will still stay. So what you want to do to be optimal, if you're min-maxing, if you're those sweaty tryhards that we were talking about earlier, you pre-pop Arcanite Dragonling just before the pull on the pull timer, and then you swap to Mind Quickening Gem before you actually pull the boss, so you can have both of them out. But it's a very, very powerful trinket in general for fire mages, and you're gonna be using this always, Nax everywhere. So if you don't, you know, if you're planning on raiding somewhat seriously, blasting 63 per stack with some quick maths on that, that is 315 increased damage when it's stacked 5 times. 63 times 5 is 315, I'm pretty sure.
And when you crit, that also becomes double, which means that the ignite itself even becomes higher. That's why
Exactly.
I was talking to our GM about this, that I'm requiring an extra debuff slot for the fire mages so we can get that 700-800 extra damage on the ignite, man. Like on the crit and on the ignite.
So 315 extra raw spell power when it's fully stacked, you can kinda equivalent it to, but as Ted is saying, when you're critting, you're doing even more damage. Let's say you're averaging around 30% crit with a crit modifier, we will be looking at somewhat around 400 to 500 pure spell power damage from this pet trinket. Imagine if you could pop a trinket that gave you 400 spell power for a minute. Would be kind of nuts, right? And that's basically what this trinket is equivalent to for fire mages.
So it's huge.
So it's huge.
I mean, yeah.
But it is a 1 hour cooldown. You're gonna use it for one boss, right?
No, that depends. So like AQ first day, you're gonna be able to use that. Let's say you only wipe like 2 times before Cafoon, you're gonna use that like 3-4 times, man.
Yeah. So yeah, very powerful trinket and important to bring up as well, together with Natarian's Tear and Mind Quickening Gem. Basically, if you don't have Mind Quickening Gem or that, you want to rotate your trinkets, right? So you want to use Towep, you want to use your Sandalore Hero Charm on trash, and if all your trinkets are on cooldown, that's when you will use Briarwood Reed. But interesting points. Here we have the Bis-list in AQ, and as you're asking, yes, the Arcanite Dragonling does the Flame Buffet, a debuff that increases fire damage taken.
Dude,
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have all the mats except for the Arcanite Barsman, and I'm kind of broke. You know, could you like finance my Arcanite Bar since you're a rich streamer? Is that possible?
The Iron Bank will take a look at your financial situation and evaluate if we can give you a loan later.
Thank you.
For now, wands.
28 minutes until Unibuff.
All right. Wand. 19 spell power. This is best in slot 1. Very slim upgrade to Touch of Chaos, which gives 18 spell power. Basically, wand upgrades are very, very slim, but an upgrade nonetheless. If you have the Touch of Chaos one from CG, you're gonna be chilling hard.
About the wand, by the way, there might, in a lot of guilds, there might be some conflict about that wand. The thing is, for healers, the best wand is the green wand, which can roll high healing, right? And on our server, the average price has been like 300, 400 gold for plus 18 healing. And then you've had, Honey, for instance, in our guild, he managed to get it for 40 gold. So if your guild and if your server has a very high price on the high rolling healing wands, healers might want this wand, so that can be a conflict. I'm just warning you guys. So if you want to avoid drama, get the CG wand, and you know, everyone is happy.
Basically what you're arguing about is one spell power. So calmer ways, if somebody's complaining about it, you know, one spell power, take the discussion or give it to them, whatever. It's one spell power.
Yeah, it's one spell power. But it's still Bis though.
Exactly. And offense, this is your Yindu's bag of whammies on steroids. There's not much more to say about it. What would you say about it for priorities? If somebody says that this is Warlock Prio over Mage Prio, what would you say to that, Teddy?
Oh, it's a hard one though. In my last guild, right, I killed KT on the last private server I was on, Light Soap, with the guild Ambitions as a Raider. Yes, that's a reference to Tupac, for those of you who know that. We made this deal that the first main hand that dropped was a slash roll between mages and locks. And then it would be, if mages got the first one, then the locks would get the second one, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. And our deal was that only people who had main hand would get offhand. Because if you pick up offhand without having main hand, it locks your gear choice. So let's say we get 6 Staff of Shadow Flames before we get another main hand, you have to disenchant the fucking two-hander.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Yeah, so if you have Loot Council or if you have DKP, like put up a system that the people who get the main hand get prio on offhand. We did that on Nax. I ended up getting main hand and offhand on KT. Best weapons in the game. It's the best system. It's the most fair in my opinion.
Sounds good. Sounds very good. For the question in chat, the Crafter chest is better than Robe of the Archmage is better than Enigma robes. Let's pull up Robe of the Archmage and I'll show you here. So Robe of the Archmage gives you 40 spell power and 1% crit, 12 int. Enigma robes gives you 23 int, 19 stam, 1 less spell power, the same crit, and decreases the magical resistance of your targets by 20. We're not sure yet how much spell pen does affect the bosses, because we've only tried it with rank 13 mage shoulders so far, because no other spell pen items are available and the mage talent. But as Teddy were saying earlier, that the really tryhard people is gonna sim and test this, and we will have an answer at at the start of AQ release.
Enigma is best, man, 100%.
Yeah, it is for sure. Like it's not even comparable. Yes, Enigma is for sure the best. Yes, that's hands
The thing
down.
is, with this gear, the value of resistances, if you can get him down to 0, or how close to 0 you can get the target, right? And
Yes.
if that increases your damage by a lot. But the thing is, with this current gear set, you don't have that much magic penetration, which means that Enigma robes in this set that totally gives the most damage and crit, Enigma robes is better than Robe of Archmage.
And I think something to notice or mention there as well is that fire, since you're going deep fire in AQ, you will probably be looking at spell pen being more valuable. Whereas a lot of you might have noticed so far is that frost spells cannot partially resist. Which means that when you do your frostbolt on Gold Mag or Nefarian or whoever you're killing, it's either gonna be a full resist or it's not gonna be resisted at all. That's frost, but it's a bit different going into fire, since that is binary spells. So they can either, or they're non-binary, I always mix them together, whatever. Basically, the point is that fire spells can be partially resisted, and that is why having spell pen might be more valuable, but we won't know that until somebody has tested it out yet, and we don't have that information yet. But that's why, you know, it might become more valuable with spell pen, especially going into AQ.
I see that Peewee Bro puts up the AV ring for discussion, which is good, but the thing is that the Ring of Swarming Thought that also gives 20 magic penetration is better than the AV one.
Because then, basically, the other ring, so you have this ring, right? It gives you 20 spell pen and 1% crit. Basically, what you're doing here is you're trading 1% crit for 23 spell power. You have the ring here. So 26. So basically, you're trading 1% crit for 26 spell power. And I don't think crit is that valuable. With that said, depending on how good Magic Pen is in AQ, we will see if it outperforms like Ring of Spell Power or something else. If the Spell Pen makes it that valuable.
A Ring of Swarming Thought will always be better than the AV ring. So
yes.
And that's the first boss in AQ. So. Bis.
But until you get it, Don Julio might be, you know, or Don Rodrigo might definitely be worth. All right.
I think that's enough of the gear, right?
I think that's enough gear.
Yeah.
Any questions, chat, about gear before we move on to why fire mages is the gods of AQ? Oh. Alright, maybe we should throw up the basic spec you will be going in AQ as well.
Yeah, that's actually a good one though. Because there is a lot of trash in AQ. It's not that much trash, but there is some trash. So like your spec is depending on your play style, pretty much. I would say.
Evolve.
Evolve. The thing is, I mean, I don't know what order you want to do this, because if we go through like the killing order or AQ as an instance, it makes a valid point to why you want improved flame strike.
Yes, that is what I'm looking at as well.
Yes, but we can go through everything else though, like all other talents. We want elemental precision, improved fireball, ignite.
I'm pulling up a spec here, and we can look at it. What you would want to change. Yes, I don't have Notorians here. Do I reroll Warrior? Thank you. No, you don't. You just clapped it today. I don't have Notorians here either. If Spellpen works well on Classic, it's the best strat for casters by far. We'll have to see. Time will tell. We will get the numbers eventually. And you know, numbers never lie. I don't want a main tank anymore. Rip threat. Yes, there is a big rip threat. Because the way fire mages work, let's just touch it briefly. There's a million videos going in depth on how Ignite works. But basically, when you crit as a fire mage, you will proc the debuff called Ignite. You can see it here. The harder your spell hit, the harder Ignite will hit as well. So if you crit someone for 1000, the Ignite might do 200 damage a tick. If you crit someone for 4000, it will do 800 damage a tick. So what you want to do, because Ignite, if I crit with a fire spell, I get the Ignite debuff on the boss. Then Teddy, my boy here, he's also fire. Then he crits as well. Then the Ignite refreshes and gets 2 stacks. And the damage is increased. So he doesn't get his own dot of Ignite. He adds his damage onto my Ignite. And this is how you can stack Ignite very high and do a huge amount of damage. So optimally, what you want to do is you want to have your 5 first crits, because Ignite only stacks to 5, be as big as possible. Opener could look something like every mage casts 1 Scorch to apply the improved Scorch debuff, which makes the boss take 15% increased fire damage. You have your Arcanite Dragonlings engaging the boss, putting up Flame Buffet for even more fire damage. Then you either do Fireball or everybody calls Pyro, depending on what you want to do and how big the Ignite is trying to get. And the one who crits the first is gonna get all the damage and all the threat. Very important. Because if you have 5 mages critting with hard-hitting spells, your Ignite is gonna be ticking for between 3 to 4000 easily. Imagine if you had that. Imagine if a Warlock had a dot that ticked for 4000. Absolutely insane amounts of damage, right? And when those 5 spells is up, every time someone crits, doesn't matter if it's a Scorch or if it's a Fireball, if it's a Fire Blast, if it's a Flame Strike for whatever reason, as soon as someone hits or crits, the dot will be refreshed. But it doesn't matter what spell there, because it's only the first 5 biggest fire spells, like the first 5 spells that crit, that will do the Ignite damage. So after that, it's just about keeping the Ignite rolling. But like Rudeness is saying here in the chat, so one mage is going to do 4 to 5k TPS. Exactly, it's a feels bad man for the tanks. You can't do an entire boss fight with a mage doing 5k DPS. You know? There's no tank in the fucking world that's gonna be able to hold aggro for that. So, sometimes you need to drop Ignite. And that basically means all fire mages stop casting, because the mage that crit first will get all the threat. So what you want to do then is you start a new Ignite. But the Ignite cannot come from the same guy that had the last Ignite. So then someone else needs to crit, and you build on that Ignite to make as big Ignite as possible. Because then that mage is not that high on the threat meters, because all of his damage from the Ignites hasn't been ticking, because it's only the first guy that crits that gets the damage and the TPS. So then he starts an Ignite and everybody ends on to that one, and you keep that one rolling until he reaches the threat ceiling where the tank is. Then you drop that Ignite and you rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. But it's very important to, you know, actually drop Ignite sometimes, because it's gonna be hitting hard, boys. Fetish of the Sand Reaver. I wonder how it's going to work with Ignite. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm back from the piss, man.
I'm not sure what item that is. At some point you have to drop Ignite, and how to drop all magic cast pyros, so it's sure you reset that Ignite. That is 100% true. We're talking about dropping ignite.
Okay.
I've explained how it works and why it's so powerful and why you can do.
Ignite is the biggest fucking spell in the game, man. It's absolutely insane. But the thing is, since this is classic, right? Everything dies insanely fast. The only boss in AQ that actually has some sort of health pool that makes it hard to like just keep Ignite rolling forever is either Cafoon or Uru, the worm. But the thing is, the worm will always target melee, so it doesn't matter. So like the only big problem is Cafoon. Battleground Satura is super squishy. Fankris is super squishy. Viscidus is only frost abilities. Prophet Scaram has no health. Like, it doesn't matter. If you delay your damage a bit, you can just fucking pump that ignite and just pop that lip and just sacrifice one motherfucker if your guild is too low on doing damage. If you're like top tier guild, you don't have to drop, man. You don't have to drop. The mobs just burn down instantly. It's insane.
That's a mage saying that. I'm just saying, indeed, I agree with Teddy. Maybe don't drop the ignite and just fucking pump is the play. But in general, respect the threat and the damage ignite will pull. Because if you haven't tested going a couple like 5 or 10 fire mages into Sul'Gurub and see how ignite works, we've been doing that a couple of times, and the damage you do is insane. The bosses, everything just dies. Like,
but I mean, ridiculous. I think the time right now is like we could discuss like the AQ trash and bosses, like, and then see how the ignite you're supposed to deal with ignite throughout the raid. Or do you still want to go through the talents?
No, I think that's a great idea, but I would like to finish up the talent tree here. If you're looking at the stream, what do you think of this talent tree overall, going with improved flame strike?
I have almost the same as you. The reason why you want flame strike is because after the first boss, all the remaining trash of the instance until the trash. Is it before Twins or before Cafoon? It's all AoE. And as a fire mage, to do the optimal trash damage, you want to spam flame strike. And this is quite funny. You don't want a single target. You don't want to use Arcanist Motion. You only want to spam flame strike, because the flame strike has an insanely high crit chance. And if you crit on a flame strike, you can stack the ignite. And you can crit on multiple mobs. So if you have trash of 3 mobs or more, you always want to cast Flame Strike so you can keep on critting and keep on ignite rolling those mobs, and that gives you the highest damage.
Yeah. So improved Flame Strike is a done deal then. But
yes,
I think
in AQ.
Yeah, in AQ. I think Havasech is making a good point here that why Incinerate would be worth 2 points. Because when you're stacking your ignites, right, you kinda don't want to crit on Scorch. You want to crit on bigger, harder hitting abilities to get as big of an ignite as possible. So is it really worth going 2 points into Incinerate?
Here's the thing though. It doesn't matter if you have 5 crits in a row with Scorch.
Yeah, because it's gonna drop when you're casting Pyro.
Yeah, the highest critting fireball will always overlap the other low one. So if you have 10 critting scorches, but you have 5 critting pyroblast, for instance, the damage from the pyroblast are the ones who are going to decide the ignite. So
not if you crit with Scorch first.
No,
if you get 5 crits with Scorch, that is gonna be, and then you get 5 crits with Fireball after. The ignite that's ticking, the damage is gonna be affected by the Scorches, not the Fireballs.
If you have 5 Pyroblast into already 5 stacked ignite with Scorch, the Pyroblast damage is the one that's gonna define the ignite. It resets the ignite with a higher damage value.
I would love to test this out.
I'm pretty sure that's how it used to be on Privacies. I think that's still the case.
Because when we got the #1 world pass on Hakar doing this exact thing, right? and it didn't work like that on Classic.
Are you for reals? Am I mistaken?
When we got Miss Frosty the #1 world parts on her car, because we were testing it over and over different ways, right? And
that might be true, man. And then I'm relying on private server knowledge, and if that's the case, then yes, you might not want to incinerate.
Right. Interesting nonetheless. All right, so for gear choices, we'll look how to optimize this in a little bit, but
the thing is,
I feel like this is the main talent, right?
We can drop incinerate, and then like I personally really love magic absorption, but in AQ it isn't really optimal before Cafoon.
Yes.
Which makes it a useless talent. In Nax, it is it's insanely huge for Loa Fab, for Patchwork, no, not Patchwork, the dog afterwards, and for Saffron and for KT. But in AQ, it's not valuable until Cafoon, because Cafoon is the only one who has like more uptime on AoE damage.
Yes.
Yes, but since you in AQ want to spam Flame Strike, the only time you use Arcane Explosion in AQ is when you're doing the Bug Tunnel. So which makes also improved Arcane Explosion like a sort of semi-useless talent.
Yes.
So you have to do some tricksing there, but the most important one is the improved Flame Strike for the optimal damage on trash. And me personally, I prefer Pyroblast Blast Wave, which is not optimal in a lot of people's skill compositions. But especially entering Nax, some points in AQ, not that much, but you will have mages starting the fight with pre-casting Pyroblast. And then you want Blast Wave because it does insane AoE.
Yeah.
So
we're looking forward to that, but that might be the more advanced way of doing it. I don't think people are gonna be pre-casting Pyros
in
first
AQ,
week.
There isn't that much pre-casting because all the packs are either AoE packs that charges with knockback, or there's like big mobs, the dogs, you know, the Egyptian dogs, Anubis F guards, that you won't pre-cast. So in AQ, you might actually want to drop both Blast Wave and Pyroblast, and then just and drop Incinerate, have 6 points, and go into Arcane Meditation. Maybe.
Yes.
It's it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, but it's boring overall. You want Pyroblast to pump.
Yeah,
CG, you know.
It's insane, man.
All right. Nice. What else did you want to touch on? Do you want to touch on the bosses? The walkthrough on the bosses?
We can go through like the AQ though. Oh fuck, dude.
Neff is dropping in 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm logging in. Okay, but yeah, let's go through the mobs though. I think I still remember a majority of it. So when you enter AQ, now you guys are gonna hear my annoying voice for a little while. So I hope you
enjoy. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Enjoy.
What? Oh my god.
I'm listening to you.
You're listening? Okay. So when you enter AQ, the first mob you kill is a patrol that drains mana. Here you just spam Scourge, 5 stacks, you fireball, you kill it. Easy done. And then you have the 4 Anubis F guards, which you separate for the tanks, use Detect Magic as a mage to see the debuff, and then you kill them in a specific order. Like normally you would go for killing the the mobs with the reflecting ability first, because every time you kill a guard, the debuff it has will transfer to the other mobs, and they will also regain 50% health. So you make a kill order, reflects, and the most annoying ones are Shadow Bolt Volley, Mortal Strike, and Knockback. The rest is like pretty easy. And then you repeat that again. You have double patrol mobs with mana burn, and then you have a new set of 4 Anubis F mobs before the first boss, and also 1 patrol as well.
So basically what you're saying, right, is every time you kill a mob with a spell, the other mobs gains its spell as well.
Yes, and they heal for 50% of their maximum health.
Yeah.
Yes, Yes, and they are easy. As long as your guild pre-established the kill order before you do it, it's easy. The only time it can become annoying is if you have... because the reflecting abilities is either Frost and Arcane or Fire and Shadow. And then they also have a Thorn ability, which like every time you do a melee damage, it reflects 500 damage. So if you have all those three combined, like on the last mob, you have no damage, and that can become a bit tricky, but it's easy doable. It's not hard at all. They die super hard, super fast, and it's easy.
Sweet.
Yeah, that it is easy. The first you have one patrol, one pack of 4 mobs, one double patrol, one pack of 4 mobs, and then one patrol, and then you have the first boss, Prophet Scaram. As a mage on Prophet Scaram, you have 2 jobs depending on what your guild decides to do. The one is to pump, just pump and you kill, because it has Prophet Scaram has like 0 health, but he does a mind control debuff, which makes that mages have to CC the targets that gets mind controlled. In my experience, the best thing is actually to have the warlocks CC. Because if you do polymorph, you have 6-7 mages in your raid comp, and you polymorph, you have a DR, and it won't last. It breaks instantly. So if you have a fair, it's much easier to keep the CC. But if it's a warrior against mind control, you can't fair, because depending on how smart the AI is, he will just insta break you with Berserking Rage or whatever. So Prophet Scaram is just pump and CC on mind control. That's it. That's all you have to do. Nothing else.
Easy. Sounds easy like that. Pump and CC. Literally what mages was made for, wasn't it?
Yeah, and buff
and buff and water
and then after that, you have a lot of AoE trash bags, which you will mostly tank in groups up against the wall, and this is where you will just spam Flame Strike for optimal damage. That's what you, until the second boss, all you pretty much will do is spam Flame Strike and stack that Ignite. And then cast Scourge or Fireball on the last mob that's alive. That's pretty much it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Moving into deeper. After the first boss, you're going down to the crypt, you're going down into the depths of the Ankh-Rush to defeat the old god Setun. What do we have in store next for us?
Let's see. After the trash, it is a lot of trash right there. Then you have the choice of either going for the bug trio or is it Battle or Centura? I think you always go the bug trio because it's faster to do it. And the bug trio is 3 bosses, and you can choose the kill order. Depending on the kill order, you will get different loot table and better loot. So the main thing is to keep the big guy, the orange one, which I don't remember the name of at this moment.
So basically, what's Teddy saying here is you can kind of decide what loot you want from the bug trio. So yes. You get loot from the boss you kill last. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes.
That is correct.
So it's like one bug can drop these, one bug can drop these, and one bug can drop these. Basically. Yes. And depending on what you want for your guild and what's general best, you can decide which boss you want to kill last.
Yes. And the only thing here, since you have 3 mobs, they don't have that much health. So they will, like, if you delay DPSing like 3, 4, 5 seconds, you won't over aggro. You spam Scourge, you get the 5 stacks, you pump, you kill, and the last surviving mob, when you kill the 2 others, he will enrage, which doesn't affect you, it only affects the tanks and the healers. You just pump, you kill, you pop a lip if you over aggro, and that's it. It's easy.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's no biggie.
Business as usual.
Yeah, the only problem is that they do a fair. So if you're not undead, you can't break it. And since we're mages, you won't get Shaman Prio. So if you're not undead, you're stuck with the fair. Sucks to be you, man. Should not have rolled a PvE troll, you know.
I like
and then you have more trash. They all do knock up. They will be tanked up against the wall. You spam Flame Strike, wait for the tank to get the mobs in position, spam Flame Strike, and just kill it. That's all you do as a mage. It's easy.
Sounds good. Moving on.
Moving on.
Which is the next boss you're going for?
The next one is Battleguard Sanctura. This is the main reason why I personally did not want to go Bloodvine. Battleguard Sanctura is main boss with 2 adds. They all have the same abilities. It's AoE Whirlwind. The main boss also have a knockback on the main tank, which is annoying as fuck. But the thing is, the Whirlwind deals a shit ton of damage and it can literally one-shot you if you're in range of it. So you want your rate to spread out, kill the ads, kill the boss. The only thing you have to do here is to pump and be aware of your surroundings. If you see the mob running towards you, because they reset aggro like all the time, move away, blink out or whatever, and just do not die. If you die, you're fucked.
You heard it here first, boys. If you die, you fucked. Don't fuck up, alright?
You use your Uni buff, you don't have crits, can't keep the ignite, it sucks, man. The worst part about raiding as far is losing your fucking Dragon Slayer, man.
Wall buffs.
Yes.
We can mention it quickly as well, that since you scale so incredibly well with crit as a fire mage, it becomes so valuable with wall buffs. The 10% from Oni, the 5% from Songflower, the 3% from Dire Maul Tribute, and 3% from Fire Festival, for example. There you're sitting at a stable 21% crit. Free from buffs. Like, it's very important. So, make sure you bring a lot of lips, especially with the wave Fire Mages and Ignite and everything work. If you're not ready for it, make sure you bring a lot of lips. Just, you know.
Lips are life. But the thing is, since this is classic, like the thing about private servers, right, which mainly my experience come from, is that all the mobs were overtuned like crazy. Like all the damage they did was overtuned. We're going Songflower now, by the way, right?
Okay. Are we not getting DMT? We just can say fuck it to DMT.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
It's 3% crit, it's fine.
Yeah, fuck it. The thing is, like, all damage was increased, so Battleguard Sanctura could one-shot you. I'm curious to see how it's gonna be on Classic. Even with Bloodvine, you might survive, but it can be risky. But you might survive just fine. We're flying Ashenvale, by the way.
I didn't.
Oh my god.
I can request stop though. Alright, yeah, so crit very valuable, and since wall buffs are so valuable and it's so risky dying, that's another kind of downside to Bloodvine, right? Because you're so squishy.
You have no stam.
You got no stam at all. So yeah. Alright, moving on. Fankris the Unyielding.
No. Before Fankris, you have the Bug Tunnel. Suppression Room 2.0, man.
Alright.
Yeah.
Suppression
as a
Room
mage,
2.0.
Yeah, as a mage, you have your only job here is to AoE when it's called. Depending on your guild, depending on your tank and your healers, you either AoE everything in it as you move along, or you wait until you pull 2 of the elites. Like, there's a lot of normal mobs, and then there's every now and then there's elite mob. Normally you would wait until you pull 1 or 2 of the leads, and then you nuke everything with sappers and AoE, and then you move on because they respawn super quickly. That's pretty much the play. So all you have to do is have your lip off cooldown, DPS when you call for, and if you're about to die, pop that fucking lip so you don't die in a tunnel, man. Because if you die, you have to run in, you get summoned at the safe spot at the end. It's annoying. It's annoying.
Suppression Room 2.0. You guys thought we were gonna get rid of the Suppression Room? About running through there? About people pulling annoying shit? You don't know.
Yeah, the only thing here is that they respawn super quickly. It's faster, a lot faster than Suppression Room, but they respawn super quickly. So shamans never put up totems because you're gonna pull the entire room. don't fall behind. Like, advise your guilds to do a countdown before starting bug tunnel, because if you fall behind, you're fucked, man. Like, you're fucked. You have the safe spot, but the aggro range of Fankris is like super long. And someone is 100% gonna ninja pull that shit the first run, and you won't get that summon, and you're stuck outside. Your guild is gonna wipe, everyone's gonna rage, lose their world buffs. It's gonna be a fiesta, man.
Alright.
So, yeah.
Boys, stay together. Strong together. Don't run alone. Don't fall behind. Don't be that guy. You know. We've seen enough rogues ninja pull Broodlord after the suppression room. Yeah, I'm just gonna take one more trap, you know, and whoops. Let's try to avoid that in AQ, boys.
The TDA special, man.
It has happened.
Fucking
before.
no Madina or O2B.
Right.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is Fankris Undying. The unyielding, or what the fuck is called. There is a save spot right before, which you want to aim for. Summon people, whatever, get your consumes. Fankris Undying as a mage is an easy fight. The main focus, depending on the mob's health, right? Since it's classic, it's gonna be quite easy to kill him. We're overgeared as fuck. So you wanna focus the boss. He will have two mechanics that he does. He will spawn like these big worms. You know the worms that charge you in Silitus?
Yeah.
It's the same mobs. They will spawn at the far side of the cave. You want to kill them instantly. If they come in to the raid, they will enrage and they will one-shot your tank. So as a mage, when you see them coming, you change target, you kill it instantly to make sure the tank doesn't die. Other than that, you pump the boss. You will get teleported into like this cave entrance where a lot of ads will spawn on you. You have to kill those and heal the guy who gets teleported or whatever, and he dies fast, man. Just pump, just pump. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you kill the worms. That's Fankris. He dies super fast. It's easy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, gonna be blasted. But then we have a really interesting one, right? One of the special bosses in AQ overall.
It's Bis-lists, man.
And I'm sure you guys have seen the YouTube videos about people getting, what is it, like the RFD, what is it, like this dagger for rogues launches a bolt of frost at the enemy. There's a reason for all of this, and Teddy's gonna explain that why.
Yes. Okay, so Bis-lists, the big nasty slime boss. If you're into anime and hentai, that shit, you're gonna love this, you know. Dude, I'm dying. I'm dying to a hunter. I'm gonna kill. Oh my god.
All right.
Okay, Bis-lists is the giant slime boss. I'm getting killed by hunter, man.
Yeah, sucks to be you. Don't lose to a hunter.
It's a rogue as well. It's 2-on-1, man. I'm actually dead.
Yeah, you should have gone to Songflower Flight Puff.
That's my buffs. Ay. Okay.
There's
Bis-lists.
another Oni in 10 minutes, you know.
Okay, I'm taking rest sickness.
Alright, Bis-lists.
Yes, okay. So, Bis-lists is... This is stream stuff because of you, man. Holy shit. Okay. Bis-lists is... The thing about Bis-lists is you want to cool him down. You're watching a wood, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
While you're explaining.
So, it doesn't matter how much damage you do on Bis-lists. The only thing you want to do is to spam frost-related abilities and cool him down, get him into Shadow Phase, and then break the Shatter, and then nuke all the ads. So, if you're a mage, you either want a fast-casting Frost Wand, or you spam rank 1 Frostbolt. Both thing works, one optimal, rank 1 works. That's all you do. You get to Shatter, you break it, and then you all gather in the middle. You pop your your Blast Wave, your Sappers, you kill as many ads as you can, and depending on how many you kill, that's how much health is going to respawn with. So if you have a lot of good damage, he spawns with like 2% health, 1% health, and you kill him. If not, you have to do it again.
So basically you stack up here in the middle and then you blast.
Yes.
And then you rinse and repeat. As you guys can see, that did 75% damage to visitors. So that's why people are using frost wands, frost daggers, everything, trying to, as Teddy explained, cool him down. He's being kited around because of a toxic cloud. As mage, you don't have to give a flying F about that. You're just gonna stand there, use your wand or your rank 1 frostbolt. So I think it's cool because it's a lot different fight to what we have seen before in the classic span as well. So this is one of the fights I'm looking the most forward to, for sure.
It's easy. The thing is, if all your guild is engineer, you're gonna respawn him at like 2% health, man. Like, if you're in a guild where people don't have engineering, like in our guild for instance, it's gonna take 2-3 attempts, which is annoying as fuck. Well, but yeah, it's easy. It's not hard, man.
You heard it here first, boys. Go level engineering. Go get your sappers to pump for your guild. Yes. Alright, so that's visitors. And that is also the boss that drops the best in slot weapon for phase 5 mages.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Oh, it's turbo ugly, but goddamn if it doesn't hit hard.
Gives me a stiffy, man.
Amazing, amazing. Then we have another one that also, speaking of a little bit different mechanics, Princess Huron.
Yes.
That has the soaking mechanic. That
yes, there is a lot of trash though before Huron.
Trash. I just want bosses. I want loot.
Yes. These mobs are the same as AQ20. With one of the ads from Battleground Sanctura is also in most of the packs. So you have like AoE, Poison Spit, Flying Wasps, and then you have like a Spinner, and they're all free packs, free mobs in a pack. You spam Flame Strike until one is dead, and then you go Scourge as a mage. That's what you do pretty much. Don't get knocked back. It's easy. They die super fast. It's not going to be a problem.
All right.
And so if ads, I mean, it's a lot of trash, by the way.
It's a lot of trash, but the trash dies is not a problem. Let's get into Huron. What do we have in store for us here?
The only thing you have to do here is, as a mage, you pretty much only pump. Like, this relies on your healers, your tanks, and your hunters.
And your soakers, right?
Yeah, but as a mage, you just pump. Like, you don't do it, you just pump. You stack that 3k rolling ignite, that's all you do, man. Like,
exactly. So basically, as Ted is saying, for mages you pump. In general, Princess Huron is a little bit special because Princess enrages, and when it enrages, it will shoot out poison bolt volley at the 15 closest targets, I think it is. Of course, you can always trank shot the enrage, so he doesn't shoot out the poison bolts until he hits 30%. When Princess Huron hits 30%, it goes enrage and it's not dispellable. And that's why you need 15 people with big nature resistance gear to soak those bolts, so us, the true kings, the mages, can stand in the back and, you know, pump some fat damage and keep that ignite rolling. But that's basically, this is the boss you need nature resistant soakers with a lot of nature res on them. It's for Princess Huron. But as a mage, you don't need to worry about it.
And then the thing is, Princess Huron has the same health value as Broodlord. Barely. It's almost the same, and it's gonna die super fucking fast, man. Oh my god, it's gonna be a cakewalk. You're just gonna nuke it. Just pop wreck, whatever, and just
for sure. What happens if you don't soak? If you don't soak, melee will die. Because the poison bolts hits hella hard. So if you don't have nature resist to resist them or partially resist them, she's gonna do 2 spits, and the 15 people closest are gonna be dead if you don't have soakers with a lot of nature res. And then the bolt starts going on to healers and mages and other people. And
but I think is though, if you pre-pot the nature protection potion and then pop another one during raid with the nature protection totem or whatever it's called, you will kill it, man.
It might die enough. We will see. We will see. But if it has the same health value as Broodlord, it's gonna die in 2 seconds with the fire mages. So
it's gonna die. And then yes, after her run, you have a lot more trash. Of course, this is also the hardest trash in the entire fucking game, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you get the Anubis guards again, but they have different abilities, right? Now they have more AoE. They have this AoE meteor, which everyone remembers. Like, you have to stack up in groups to soak a meteor. If you stand outside of your group, you will take like 6k damage and you get one shot. And it's actually kind of funny.
And meteors, we can quickly as brief upon that there's a trinket as well from the trash that I am super excited for, that literally brings down a fat meteor like in retail and blasts. So, you know, quick, just looking forward to that a lot.
It's gonna be huge. And after you kill all the Anubis guards, you go to Twins.
And here we have another really cool fight, right?
Not for us, man.
Not for us, but in general, a really cool fight, because it's 2 bosses where one boss is immune to magic damage and the other one is basically immune to melee damage. If you stand within 15 yards of him, he's arcane explosioning you for 4k or something. So, but for mages, it's basically just DPS.
This is, for me as a mage, this was one of the worst fights, because your main job is to kill all the bugs that enlarge and transforms, right?
Yeah.
So all you do is you swap targets, you spam Scourge, if you're lucky, 1 fireball. Like, you deal no damage, man. It's just...
Yeah, basically, you're an ad killer, and you need to make like super sure that you don't DPS the bosses after they teleport and swap positions, because that's an aggro reset, and you're gonna need the lock tank, the warlock tank that you're gonna be having to pick it up then. So yeah, you're gonna be on ads duty. Pretty boring. Pretty boring.
It's boring. It's easy. It's a long fight. You don't do much. You kill ads as a mage. It's easy as long as people ready to pick up the teleport. You have the correct resistance value. It's an easy fight if you know the mechanics.
Yes.
The reason why it was so hard in vanilla is because people didn't know what the fuck to do. And it is easy. It just takes time, but it's easy. Healers and tanks are what's important. Mages, we just kill bugs, man. Oh my god.
Alright, killing bugs. That's what we've been doing now.
Yes,
for a long time.
man.
It's gonna be so exciting. Let's go. Final countdown. We have 1 boss before the old god himself. At this point, we're very deep into Anchorage territory.
Yeah,
what do we think about the Daggy Dog mask?
The ads now on is hard, man. Like, this is maybe the hardest part of AQ, I think. It's a threat reset, a lot of damage. As a mage, it doesn't affect you that much. They get separated, you pump, you do your shit. But this requires a lot of coordination between your tanks and your healers, pretty much. That's what it is. The mobs have a lot of health, hit for a lot. Coordination, you pick your targets, kill targets, you just do it, you do it. And as a mage, the only big problem is when you get the patrolling ads that does AoE fair, which is annoying for everyone. You can get fair into another patrol, you can get cucked, you can pull more, or you can... everyone wipes. If you're undead, you get fair, you're Gucci.
Yeah.
Which is why you should never roll a PvE horny troll, you know, always undead Bis, man. Bis. But most of the ads in the beginning will be killed inside of the room of the Twin Emperors. Other than that, you move in, you kill more trash, more trash, more trash. And here is where you, as a mage, you do single target abilities. You do Scourge, you stack the 5, You pump your fireball.
Because I feel like while we're just briefly, like we said on Twin Emperors, that you're gonna be spamming a lot of scorches as like pure small bugs, small ads killing. I feel like Incinerate might be really good.
Yes.
Like you might find value in that talent that you didn't think you were going to.
Yes, that is
For
true.
sure.
But the thing is, since it is classic, right? All mobs have a really low health pool.
Yeah.
And with our current gear set, it's like it will die fast, man. It's like that makes is Incinerate really worth it? Or do you want for Cafoon, right? It's a long fight. And as a fire mage, you burn a shit ton of mana.
But if you're chugging, you know, your mana ruby, then demonic runes instead of citrine, because they give more, right? And major mana pot, and you have your evocation with your evo staff. Do you think it will last longer than that? You will still go in?
Well, Cafoon depends though. I wouldn't say it should be fine, man. But like, I personally love to have mana regen as a fire mage. But I think I'm still biased from the private server. I think Incinerate will be a good talent in classic because of the mobs dying super fast.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
On private server, I would prioritize getting into the arcane talent of arcane meditation to keep mana regeneration while casting. But since the classic, I do think Incinerate is a better talent because everything dies super fast.
I agree. All right. Is it time for the big boy?
Let's see. Yeah, also, I mean, what's important to remember that depending, it doesn't matter what class you are, what's gonna take the longest time in AQ is the trash after Twin. This is where people wipe.
All right.
This is where there's like 20 packs, they do fair, a lot of damage. Like this, after kill Twin, take a 10-minute break, sort your shit out, go through everything, and pull super slowly, because this is where shit is gonna get hard. And the thing about people are debating is that on private servers, and not sure about vanilla, people are a bit skeptical, but you could skip a lot. You could skip a lot of trash. You might not be able to do this on classic, which means you have to kill everything. And that's gonna be like, in the beginning, first week, if you're like a mediocre guild, it's gonna take you 1 hour, 2 hours to kill all the trash, man.
All right.
So, yes, so this you have to be prepared for. Like, this is the hard part, like without a doubt.
So, I think a lot of the times people are talking so much about the bosses, and I think it's good that you're putting some emphasis on the trash as well, because if you look in like Blackwing Lair and Molten Core, especially like the first weeks, it's often not the bosses that has a particular high threat. It's more about, you know, the trash, the ninja pulls, the butt pulls, the people, the one guy that never can take a look at his monitor and always just yoinks ninja pulls something randomly. So yeah, might have to really keep an eye out for that, for sure.
And the thing is, if you wipe here, you're gonna have to run from the graveyard outside AQ if fast enough. And in the beginning, people don't have mounts, right? So after Prophet Scaram, when you run into like the caves, you can't mount. You have to melee walk, and you have to do the bug tunnel all over again, man. Oh, and then you have to run and run and run. So if you wipe on this trash, it's gonna take you a week to kill Cafoon, to get to Cafoon. Because after this trash mobs, after Twin Emperors, is Cafoon. That's the big boy.
So basically, boys, if you wipe, you need to do a suppression room deluxe on steroids over and over and over again, and you need to walk for, you know,
7 minutes.
Walk 1,000. Yeah. A small thing to notice before we jump into C-Tune is of course the mounts that Teddy was mentioning earlier. All the trash drops these mounts. The red one is the rare one, but really doesn't matter. But mounts that can be used in AQ to move around a lot easier. Also very good enchants, and of course we're gonna have the whole AQ opening event that will crown a Scarab Lord. I saw Vales got it, I didn't get it. And the coolest thing here is of course this ring that vendors for 82 gold. Profit, just saying. Alright, let's jump into it. C-Tune, the old god himself. We have battled through bugs, trios, bosses, trash, tunnels. We've been struggling all our way and we're standing in front of the old god himself. How do we defeat him, Teddy?
First thing, don't fucking ninja pull Cafoon. Aggro Rage is insane on Cafoon. Like, if one person steps a little bit too far to the left, he's gonna chain pull Cafoon. The event starts, you haven't pre-potted your nature protection potion, you don't have your cooldown ready for the shadow protection potion, insta-wipe, man. Insta-wipe. And then you're gonna have to do everything all over again. It sucks. Listen to your raid leader. Do not walk too far in front or to the left and ninja pull Cafoon. That's the most important thing of everything. The second, like, Cafoon itself is like the first real boss encounter in the entire classic. There's a lot of different ways to do it. The best thing is to melee stack. On Cafoon, you run in, you separate your group into 4 groups, each corner, and melee on top of Cafoon. If you have a heavy stack melee group, you can do Cafoon in like a mathematically composition, and all you do is rotate 2 steps to the right, you kill tentacles, you kill Cafoon, and you kill it. Like, I've seen progress. If you want to see like a good Cafoon thing to do it, like the most professional, it's like watching a Beethoven symphony of math. You just stack around him, warriors, they rotate 2 steps to the right, they kill the closest tentacle, and you just kill the boss. It's insane to watch. But if you have a normal composition, Cafoon, kill all the ads, kill the tentacles, kill the eye beam, kill the big tentacles that spawn. You have people getting teleported into the stomach, which is what makes like the kill. You have to time the stomach killing with killing all the ads on top of the platform of Cafoon. So once you kill the tentacle in the stomachs, Cafoon will get a debuff, you can nuke him and you push him down as far as you can, and then you repeat 2-3 times. And if you take too long, you're gonna wipe because you're enrages and everything's gonna go scuffed.
Alright, but boss killing times hasn't really been an issue so far in Classic, so...
No.
Keep an eye on your ninja pulls.
Yes.
Alright!
That's it. That's the most important thing about Cafoon. Don't ninja pull, kill ads. As a mage, this is important though. If you're a mage, your most important thing is to rotate with your group. You rotate clockwise for the beam to not get one-shotted. But as a mage, you counter spell tentacles that does this. It does this mind flay ability that chains to everyone. It's like a mix of mind flay and chain lightning that keeps on casting forever. So as a mage, you want to target, you want to counter spell and kill. Like, if it's classic, 1 fire blast and a scorch should be enough to kill it, but remember to counterspell when you can as a mage, pretty much.
Sounds good. Sounds amazing. Thank you for giving me some company and sharing your wisdom here for Encourage as a mage. Are you excited going into it?
Dude, I'm so fucking hyped, man!
Less than a month. Less than a month, and then it's time to go.
And by the way, there is one boss after Cafoon which is optional, is Urun, which is this big bug thingy, but that's the mage you just pump, because you can't aggro more than your closest target, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Cafoon is something magical about AQ like a whole, because it's completely different, right? It feels different, it feels like a real raid. And especially for a mage, the whole entire gameplay, or the feeling of the class, or the gameplay, changes completely. and it's insane.
Yeah.
And Cafoon is like, it's actually possible to mathematically structure a fight on Cafoon. Like you can rotate by meters or degrees and do it like on autopilot. You can literally bot Cafoon fight if you're good enough. Like it's insane, man.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. If I ask you, as a more experienced private server player, how hard would you rate Molten Core from 1 to 10? Where 1 is super, super easy and 10 is sweating your balls off to kill one boss.
MC is, on average, a 3 or maybe a 4.
All right.
But
so you give MC, but in general you give MC a 3.
Yeah, but Rag makes it hard in the beginning because of the mana pool. Like we were struggling on Ragnaros the first weekend.
But I'm talking in general with like
3 or 4, man.
3 or 4. All right. Blackwing Lair, where would you put that in a scale from 1 to 10?
4.
A 4 as well. So MC and Blackwing Lair, we tried it out now. There was some issues in the beginning, but you would say they're a bit similar with the gear you had going into it. Where would you put Ankurage AQ40?
I would only put it on like a 5.5, man.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's not hard. In my personal opinion, it's not hard to synchronize on a minor level, which is what AQ is all about. It's synchronization. People have to stack, rotate as a group, and that's pretty much it. If you rotate as a group and you do things coordinated, it's easy. But that is for some people, or a lot of people, really, really hard. But AQ as an entire raid feels completely different, but it's still easy.
All right.
But if I want to stretch it, maybe a 6.
All right. Interesting. Teddy.
And then Nact is maybe a 7.5.
We'll see. Yeah. Anyways, Teddy, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for the help. Anyone you wanna shout out or say anything about before?
Hey, I wanna shout out my channel, man. Like, hello.
Of course.
I taught you all the things about streaming, man. But this is the first time I'm streaming today in like over a month.
Guys, this guy is good at talking. He says he taught me a lot of things. You know,
Dude, I have logs of you asking me how to set up your fucking sound settings.
Oh yeah, but with the stream, of course.
Yeah,
of course. You will get the credit deserved. Guys, you can find a link to Teddy's stream in the description below. I'll leave a link to it there. I will also leave a link to the different Bis-lists, the pre-AQ Bis-list, the AQ Bis-list. I hope you guys have learned some from this. I sure have. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments down below. You can always find me and Teddy very rarely, me pretty often, but Teddy very, very rarely on Twitch. And if you have any questions, just feel free to drop into any of our streams and ask away, and we will share the knowledge that we have. Other than that, if you liked and enjoyed the video, and if you enjoy this type of content in general and want to hear more discussion about different things and different aspects of Classic WoW, just let us know and we'll make it happen. Until next time, thank you guys for watching the Goblin Brothers little Mage AQ40 podcast right here, and I wish all of you guys an amazing night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dude, my